Hello everyone, I am back again. Hope you hope y'all have a very good Christmas this year, and with the end of the year and 2019 approaching very just almost like a few days a couple days away as of recording this video. I want to do something for the end of the year before we leap onto a brand new year. And instead of doing those top 10 best movies of 2018, I'm just going to do something that I rarely do on this channel besides the vlogs. Reviews. Now, I decided to do some reviews of some of the greatest movies that I've seen in 2018. And I only narrowed it down to three. Just three. There are a lot of good movies that I've seen, like Avengers Infinity War, Predator, and The Strangers sequel, Pray at Night, and there's actually and Incredibles 2, which is good. And so I want to narrow it down to three movies, which I think were the greatest movies that I've seen in 2018. So the first I wanted to do is that I'm going to review Solo, a Star Wars story, which I believe is the the 10th Star Wars movie. Well, in total, not like the amount of episodes that have been released, but in total of how many Star Wars movies that have been released in theaters, there have only been 10. Solo is the 10th. And to be really, really honest, I thought it was good. I probably lost all my subscribers already just by saying that. I think Solo is actually pretty good. Sure. When they announced they're gonna make a Han Solo origin story, fans were like, really? We already... Seriously, just by looking at him, we already know a lot about him. We don't want to go far out to like origin story, seeing the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. But they made it anyway. Now this movie has a lot of setbacks. Well, during production. The project was originally going to be directed by Phil Lord and Christian Miller. I believe I got their names right. They also directed the Lego Movie and the 21 Jump Street movies. And I had high hopes for them. I have high hopes. I was hoping that this movie is in good hands. Especially since Lawrence Kasdan and his son. Lawrence Kasdan is the writer for Empire Strikes Back and the other Star Wars movies, like Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Like, this project is in good hands. Until midway in production, they fired them. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, fired Phil Lord and Christian Miller because Phil and Chris wanted to go to a different direction besides in what Lucasfilm wants. And that's not what Lucasfilm wants. So they fired him. They just gave him... They still have executive producer's credit. So as a result, they hired Ron Howard of, you know, the Da Vinci Code and that. It's also the first. Hey, I thought it was like pure coincidence because he was before Ron Howard was a director. He was an actor, and he starred in a movie directed by George Lucas called American Graffiti, and he's directing a Star Wars movie, which Star Wars was created by George Lucas. And when the film came out, critics gave positive reviews, and it was the biggest flop. It received like $150 million at the box office, since it was like Solo is the most expensive Star Wars movie ever made, with like $300, since they had to almost reshoot the entire movie when they hired Ron Howard. A lot of the expense in this came from the reshoots. A lot of fans were boycotting this, and they're probably those same fans that are still upset about The Last Jedi. And I've already dealt with that, so I'm just gonna keep calm. So, and I've just gone way too much, and I'm just gonna get right to the review. This is gonna be a spoiler-free review, since I've decided, like, I always delve so much in so many spoilers, and I might give a little bit of spoilers, but there's a little bit of spoilers ahead. Tiny bit of spoilers, not too much, but a little bit. So, I want to talk about. So first, let's talk about how the film looks. Now, this is the first Star Wars movie that I never got to see in the theaters recently, since I haven't seen Solo in theaters, and mainly because of The Last Jedi, and my dad never liked the movie. And he said to himself that he would never watch a single Star Wars movie ever again. But then he finally watched Solo, and I remember he said that the film looks like a Star Wars movie, but it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. This is what my dad said. So, let's talk about how the film looks. The film looks good. The film looks gritty. It almost looks like a type of war movie. Not really like a type of war movie, but somewhere like around the dark and gritty territory. Well, not really dark, but just gritty in general. And but Ron Howard really did a good job trying to put all this together. Maybe there's still a few more scenes from Lord Phil and Chris that are still in this movie. They also did a good job. They only shot Phil and Chris only shot 90% of the movie, and they had to do and they got fired and do reshoots by Ron Howard. Reshot everything. I'm going back to facts again, and I should just stick to the review. So the film looks great. The film is visually stunning, especially with its set design, and and the locations that they picked were absolutely amazing and sometimes breathtaking. A lot of my people, a lot of my subscribers are probably like angry at this. Like, what the hell are you talking about? What type of breathtaking is it about? Let's say like the final scenes of the final scenes of the movie, or whatever. So, and now let's move on. Let's talk about the characters. Now, Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Han Solo in this movie, he does a good job. Not near the level of Harrison Ford greatness, but he does pretty good. Now I know they don't want to. Now Alden Ehrenreich tried to be. Alden Ehrenreich is trying to portray a much younger Han Solo, not the Harrison Ford Han Solo that we all know. So this Han Solo is more like he's ready to do this. He's prepared to do this. He's more outgoing. Same with Lando, played by Donald Glover, who any of my subscribers who are huge fans of rap music probably know him as Childish Gambino. And he's also the writer for. He's also known for Atlanta and the show Atlanta. He's also going to be playing Mufasa in the Lion King remake, which is not live action. Donald Glover wants to have trying to portray the same mannerisms, which with how Billy D. Williams, who first played Lando in Star Wars, how he portrayed the character, and wanted to do the same thing. He did a really good job, and I like how they try to portray, and let's talk about Chewbacca. I like that they made him more of a character instead of some background character. Like, I also like the backstory of the character, of how more in-depth backstory of how Chewbacca ended up in the hands of the Empire. Is that the Empire came in and took all the Wookiees in captivity until Han came around and take him out, and all that. It took him part of the mission. And yeah, that was my dad. So what I was saying, oh yeah. I also like the other characters, which I don't remember their names because I only saw it once, just recently. Or Emilia Clarke and Woody Harrelson, they did good jobs as well. And the characters are good. Yeah, story. Now, there are some things that I don't like I do have some things that I don't like about it. That is how Han got the name Solo. How he got the last name of Solo. It is just so lazy. Lawrence Kasdan and his son could have come up with something that is more better than he was all alone, so Solo. You approve. Really? What if there's other people who don't have a last name? Like, and they just gave him the last name of Solo. Karen Solo. Jackson Solo. Is there any... Imagine there's like a bunch of other people named with the last name of Solo that joined the Empire. Now the story, well, it's a story about Han Solo. He was already a thief, smuggler, and wanted to have money so they could buy a ship for it. So his girlfriend, it's played by Emilia Clarke, wanted to escape. And then the two got separated, and Han ended up trying to join the Empire, trying to be a pilot. He wanted to be a pilot, but ended up as a soldier in the battlefield, which is, I know, what a lot of people in the military had to deal with, like people in the Navy had to deal with, like they wanted to be part of this, but they ended up being part of something else. Yeah. And they're making this deal. They're trying to steal some these it's called those little things that make the Kessel Run. What is they doing? They're trying to make a Kessel Run. They're trying to steal some of these things and then have a fair deal so Han could get a lot of money to get a ship. And that. At least everything's like a little... Seems the story's kind of okay. It's kind of rough around the edges, but it's kind of okay with what it is. Lawrence and his son did a good job. And yeah, it's an okay story. And yeah, overall, it's such a good movie. It's visually great. It gives us a new take on familiar characters, as well as an appearance of a familiar character that I probably don't want to spoil because there's probably a lot of my audience who haven't seen it. So just go watch Solo if you want to know what I'm talking about. A lot of people already know about that. And so yeah. Solo is just a good movie. It had some great moments. Maybe a little bit of bad moments. I feel like the movie would have been a little bit better. I feel like the film would have been a little bit better if Phil Lord and Chris Miller were still attached as directors. But I love it the way it is. Yeah, I like it the way it is. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on that notification bell to get notified on future videos. And tomorrow you're gonna expect another review, but this time it's for a horror movie that I was excited for, that I've wanted to see in theaters, but grades got in the way. But then I finally got to see it, and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on it tomorrow. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.